We all know they're different. He leads, he does machines, cool but rude, party dude. But Turtles in Time is a very unforgiving game, and unlike the Battle Nexus, there is no sensei here to hand out free wins. Despite appearing similar, the Turtles are sufficiently different in many ways, at least enough to warrant a tier list. So who is the best? Donatello, it's Donatello. Let's begin with a list of his pros and cons, followed by my explanation. Pros. Best strike range. Mashing strikes sometimes has enough delay between them to hit enemies again and prevent counterattacks. Massive strike finisher range and active frames. Back attack walls out both grounded and airborne enemies. Best overall special due to range and safety. Fast throw animation. Cons. Back attack is not fast enough to reliably fight Rahzar. Special has punishable startup. Falling strike does not hit directly below him. Slowest strike speed. Let me break down the significance of these points. Donnie's cons are very minor. His special startup is his biggest flaw, but it's mitigated easily with reverse shoulder, strikes, and upkick. The back attack's weakness against Rahzar is too niche to be a major concern. Falling strike is not typically used for enemies directly below except edge cases, and his strike speed is still more than fast enough for the pace of the game. Donnie's pros, on the other hand, are massively beneficial given the mechanics of the game. Falling strike has large range and easily defends against nearly anything coming from the front. His ground range lets him safely clear out groups with no risk, including his special that gives half his leg intangibility. His strike speed interval having the potential to combo enemies even when mashing means that going for strike finishers with him is a bit more practical than with any other turtle. His pros are weighted heavily in his favor, and with no major flaws, that makes him the clear best. Also, science, so he goes in science tier. Leonardo. For the longest time, I thought Leo was awful, but when you play this game to unhealthy amounts like I do, you eventually make discoveries that completely upend prior conventions. Pros. Second best strike range. Decently fast strike speed. Horizontal slash hits behind him. Fastest back attack. Fastest special recovery. Stationary special has minimal commitment and prevents unnecessary screen scrolling. Fast throw animation. Cons. Strike finisher is very punishable. Worst back attack range. Short special range. Special offers no movement for dodging. Leo's cons, like Donnie's, are very minor. His biggest issue is low special range coupled with somewhat slow startup speed. Leo's pros are not weighted as highly as Donnie's, but he has a number of well-weighted benefits across the board that make him a well-rounded character with no major flaws. His falling strike, like Donnie's, can be used defensively and wall out enemies, albeit not as effectively, yet still far more viable than Mikey's and Raph's. His special being stationary may seem like a problem at first, but the fact that he doesn't commit to forward movement actually enables him to use it in safe, defensive ways that keep him out of harm's way. And since it also has the fastest recovery, that allows him to get away with using it in situations when others cannot. Combining special after stunning enemies with a strike is highly effective offensively as well, and lets him guarantee easy kills without screen scrolling. Strike finisher is really never used, so it's a negligible con, and back attacks aren't generally used for their range. Back attack usage is uncommon and specific to certain scenarios that mostly don't depend on range, so this con is also not a big deal. Because he isn't as privileged as Donnie, but still fortunate in most of the properties that matter most in this game, I place him in A tier. Raphael. Pros. Second fastest average strike speeds. Absence of random sidekick makes his strikes the safest of all turtles. He has a forward lean that gives him deceptively good strike range, slightly better than Mikey's. Forward lean does not include his entire hurt box, meaning part of his front side is intangible. Fastest special startup. Stationary special prevents unnecessary screen scrolling. Best overall back attack. Cons. Falling strike has terrible range and cannot effectively be used to wall out enemies. Special is highly committal due to worst recovery. Slow throw animation. Raph has the same disadvantages as Mikey, except his far strike hitboxes have more range, are 1 frame slower, and his special does not grant him the same offensive benefits as Mikey's. His special does put him airborne, but without movement, he cannot use it to reliably dodge hazards, except in stage 3. And if he gets hit out of it, he'll be knocked back and unable to buffer an upkick to escape bad situations. It also has the worst recovery, even being 2 frames slower than Donnie's while having none of the range. Despite its animation, it cannot reliably anti-air enemy jump attacks. It's technically the fastest special in startup at 8 frames, but only at close range. Mid and far range are significantly slower. Back attack is situational for most of the game, making his particular unique advantage there okay, but not heavily weighted. He also shares the slow throw animation with Mikey. That said, Raph's forward lean grants him the benefits of deceptively good range and intangibility for part of his front side. Moreover, he lacks a random sidekick, which is excellent because it's the worst move in the game, often getting the other turtles into trouble and almost requiring the whiff cancel technique I mentioned in this video to escape to safety. That means his strikes will almost always be within range, making his strike game the most safe and consistent of all. The one risk to this is the occurrence of random throws and slams. Depending on situational context, these moves could be boons or busts. But utilizing proper Z-axis positioning, max range strikes, and throw cancels will help prevent him from getting punished. Raph being the only turtle that almost never has to worry about whiff cancel is a much bigger deal than you might realize, considering how easy it is to die from an accumulation of occasional and seemingly minor punishments. Raph is by far the most unique character with the least obvious benefits. Hidden as they may be, they push him up right next to Leo in A tier. Michelangelo. Pros: fastest and most consistent overall strike speed up close. Fastest special recovery, tied with Leo. Second fastest special startup. Special gives movement and puts him airborne, allowing him to sometimes dodge enemies and jump over hazards like stage 5 planks. Silly idle animation. Cons: worst strike range. Strike finisher is very punishable. Falling strike has terrible range and cannot effectively be used to wall out enemies. Special recovery is highly punishable from both the front and back. Slow throw animation. Mikey is a fan favorite. Everywhere you look, people rush to choose him because he's the clear best, right? Well, he's not a scientist, so he can't be, but we can still evaluate his fighting prowess. Strike finishers are avoidable and not a big deal, but being unable to defensively use falling strike is a major con, and his special getting punished more often than Donnie's and Leo's makes using it risky. His hurt box during his special is wide and he puts it forward while attacking, literally putting himself head first into danger. Since he's airborne when he gets hit out of it, this means he cannot buffer an upkick to escape easily upon landing. The slower throw animation also prevents him from canceling the recovery as quickly as Donnie and Leo. Mikey's strikes are the most reliable at close range, yes, but this feeds right into the problem of random throws and slams getting him into trouble. Generally, strikes should be used at a range to avoid this problem, and his range, while still decently good, is technically the worst of all the turtles. Furthermore, unlike the other turtles, all 3 of Mikey's main strikes very easily trigger the early bomb explosion when attacking these guys. Mikey is most similar to Raph, but unlike Raph, he doesn't have any game-changing advantages. His most unique aspect, his special, gets punished surprisingly often. Since his attack hitbox ends well before he stops moving and lands, it's easy for him to get punished from the front. And since his hurtbox gets wider, he can also get punished from behind. He cannot use falling strike defensively the way Donnie and Leo can. And his main strike advantage, the close range speed and consistency, clashes with the random throw and slam mechanic. Because of these cons and lack of high impact pros, he is the worst turtle of the bunch. That said, there are no bad turtles here. I place him in B tier, just under Raph. Fortunately, this game also has many useful attacks that are universal between the turtles, so you won't always see differences between them manifested in all situations. Reverse shoulders work equally well, even if you're not a scientist. If you like this game or want to play it, please don't let my list assuage your interest in your turtle of choice. Simply play who you like and go. knowing full well that they are all not just viable, but extremely capable. For an early 90s game, the character balance is actually very well done. Chalk it up to simple movesets or overly cautious design, but game balance in that era wasn't exactly a running theme, including this game, so it's a wonder how the turtles turned out this good at all. The control and power of the turtles is probably where most of the budget for this game went to, and that's likely why it feels so good to play even after all these years. If you're interested in learning this game, I have tutorial videos available that teach you how to play, as well as a playlist on my channel full of 1-credit clears that show the game being played at high level. I'm also down to play co-op with people on Fightcade, especially if you're trying to learn how to 1cc the game, so reach out to me if that's the case. I hope you enjoyed the tier list. Thanks for watching, I'll see you all next time.